Alrighty, welcome back everybody to the fifth week of our algorithmic programming course, the Tech Bytes program. It is the fifth week already. We got Joe giving a sign for Chase. They had quite the competition going on last Friday in our video gaming hour, but today is Monday. And if you know what Monday means, that means that our algorithmic programming course is underway. As always, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Hopefully everybody else will be coming in soon as well. But like the usual, we got a new problem today. We're going to be tackling it head on and having some fun when doing that as well. Guys, if you are new, remember my name is Rayan Siddiqui. I'm a senior at Conan High School. You guys know the phrase by now. It's engraved, just like, it should be engraved in your brain that Tom Brady is GOAT in the NFL. It should be engraved that learn, play, code, sleep, and repeat is the coding motto. Hopefully you guys had a good time watching that game. Quite the blowout.
Hey guys, my name's Labdi, and just like Rayan, I teach at Tech Bytes, also a senior at Conan, and for me, I don't have the slogan of eat, sleep, code, repeat, but I have something similar. I love algorithms, art, and coding.
Alrighty, so now let's get now towards our agenda for the day for February 8th. That being, we're going to get started off with any questions, make sure we're all on the same page, and then get towards our problem today. It's going to be a new problem, recording some new details, and also some reviewing some old terms we have covered in the past couple of weeks as well. Whiteboard them out, and then start coding them per the usual.
All right, so for today's problem, is write a function that replaces vowels in a string with any character we want. So just shout out, what are vowels? You guys should know, man.
A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y.
There we go. Yes,
in
sir.
song form.
Okay, so what we're going to have is a string. String is just a list of characters, a sentence, a word, and from that string, we're going to replace any vowel with any character we want. But before we do go on to whiteboard and to coding, we will review some terms which will help us actually code today's problem.
Oh, the screen just went off. All right, guys, so like Bobby said, we're going to get started off by reviewing and recapping some terms. Now, first term is going to be a new term, which we haven't really discussed that much, but it's pretty simple if you think about it. That being something called a char. Now, a char is like a shorthand method of saying a character. Now, when I say character, without reading the screen, who can tell me what is a character? Like in English, when we say this is a character, what do you think of?
As in, I'm a character.
Well, Chase, you are quite the character, but I'm talking about more like a word type of sense. Anybody have any ideas?
Isn't it like anything that it's like you can type onto something, like spaces and like letters and everything that you can type?
Exactly. So the letters A through Z, numbers, commas, greater than, equal to sign, like my whole keyboard essentially, if I were to show it, each character, like each thing I press, it has a certain value associated to it. And a little fun fact, that little value associated to it is called the ASCII value. That's something we can get into a little bit later as well, but that's a little bit of a dictionary. But basic thing which you guys have to know for today is that a character is, like you guys said, it's a part of a string. Multiple characters, they make words, right? So like our names are made of multiple characters. So like say the string is apples, well, the characters are A, P, P, L, E, and S, meaning the string is made up of 6 different characters. So that's something we'll know for today when trying to figure out what is a vowel and what is not.
All right, and the second thing that we're going to learn today is a function called dot replace. Now, remember when we talked about modules and functions before? Modules just help help make our lives way easier by giving us writing lines of code that we don't have to write. And this dot replace function is basically a function, just the way we would create a function, initialize a function, or declare it. But instead of declaring it and then using it, someone has already declared it in the Python library, and we're just going to be using it. Now, to use it, we will need to know how to use it as well. And it's pretty simple, actually, as if we just follow along of what the 3 bullet points or 3 lines written on the slide. If you have X equals Tom Brady, now that's a string and has how many characters? That's a question for y'all.
Isn't it like 2 characters because of T and H?
This line, Chase, talking about line number 1, how many characters are in that string?
So we set X to a string. X is our variable, and we set it to a string. Now, how many characters are in the string Tom Brady?
8.
Yeah,
8.
perfect. Yeah, so if you count the stars, or not, never mind, but yeah, exactly. There are 8 characters because there are 8, I guess, letters of the alphabet in this case. Now, I'm saying letters of the alphabet in this case, but if we had 1, 2, or period or exclamation point, those are characters as well. And so, okay, that's line 1. And then once we do set that string into the variable, all we have to do is say that variable, so we just called it X in this case, X dot replace. Now this replace function is the function that we're learning. And inside the 2 parentheses, remember, whenever we use functions, we need to use those parentheses. And inside those parentheses go parameters here. I'm just gonna write that in. Okay, right.
Yep.
Here, I got it. So these are parameters. And what are parameters? They are basically like inputs, you know, like when we have a machine or any sort of, machine, you put in some sort of fuel or some sort of input for it to output something else. Well, the parameters in any function are that sort of fuel. Now, in this function, we put in T and H. And one more thing, the order of those parameters matters. So if we have in the first, let's see. In this first place, we have T. And what that means is for whenever this replace function will see a T in this variable, which is X, which is the string, it's going to replace it with the second parameter that we pass in, which is H. So what happens is when this line is called, every instance of T, now here's a vocab word, but it means exactly what it sounds like. So every time T appears, this function is going to replace it with an H. Pretty easy. So how many times does T appear in the string? Question for y'all.
Once.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's in the first character. So just gonna replace that H, pardon my horrible handwriting, but HOMBRADY. Okay, that's some amazing
I know,
handwriting.
It's hard to write with a mouse.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, and then this last line basically doesn't do anything in our code, just prints, tells us what we changed. And that is what we are going to, first of all, whiteboard today and then code.
Exactly.
So this is a function that basically replaces something with something else.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And the main thing guys Avi was talking about is another key like term she was talking about, that being the parameters. Think of parameters like, say your mom tells you to brush the floor or clean the dishes, right? Usually she'll say like a time to do it, right? Well, that time or like that specific value associated with that chore is something you can think of like being a parameter. So you're like ordering something off Amazon. You're not going to order everything on Amazon, right? There's something specific you're going to order, right? So it's that specific thing you're passing in. That's what we're talking about, like being parameters. So with those new terms out of the way for today, how about we turn back the clock and think about what we talked about for the past couple of weeks. So we'll go into a little breakout room for a couple minutes and talk about with our partners, what does a for loop do? A for loop. And then once we get back, we will recap it together. So let's get our coding brains on and we'll make.
Ryan, there's Navia. Would you? Oh yeah, you just did.
Yep.
Okay, great.
You get into the breakout room with me, you win automatically.
Oh wait, I forgot. This is still a webinar. We still got to convert all of these. So never mind. We'll just talk about it together. So feel free to unmute. let's talk about what is.
I remember we
Oh.
did this on like the Friday when we were doing like video game hour or something. You guys had a webinar and we had to like join a different meeting.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get that taken care of next time so we can do that. But for now, just feel free to unmute, guys. What do you guys remember about a for loop? Or in general, the idea of a loop. Can anybody remind the class?
It repeats something for a loop and for a loop.
So who can remind us what are the two different types of loops we mainly use?
For and while.
Yep. And Chase, do you still remember what does a while loop? What do we use that typically?
Yeah.
Could you share?
Oh yeah. That's like while something is true, it will repeat.
100%. So that's the basic idea, guys. Remember, so the loop is something repeated. We're gonna run a piece of code, right? But like Chase said, a while loop is used to make sure it keeps on running until a certain condition is met. A for loop, we're able to make sure it runs a certain number of times. So in a sense, it's predefined. We know before the loop runs, how many times is this loop going to run? Unlike a while loop where it is a bit ambiguous. Like Labdi is right out there. Yep, we have two types of loops. For loop and a while loop, super important to remember.
All right. Well, if we don't have any questions, do you think we need to whiteboard, Ryan, after doing the replace?
Yeah, I think everybody has a good idea after that example.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so if anybody does want to go over it, we can. But Labdi does. You want to do one more example, Labdi? A quick one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We can do whiteboard, and then although our man Avanish isn't here, he would be speed rounding this, but we can do it.
Oh, would you be able to give me?
Yeah.
I'll take his crown while he's gone.
Let's see.
It's also funny that every now and then I see Joe just slide in on his chair.
Okay, so let's see. I'm not gonna code, but I'm gonna code in here because as you can see, drawing with the mouse is very, very difficult. So let's say our string, so like let's have a sentence. So string is equal to, again, when I have something equal to something, I'm just setting the value for the string to a string, and I'm just gonna say, let's see, Labdi is great. Okay, okay, so we have a string. Now remember, what was our function called that replaces one character with another?
Hint, Labdi just said it.
Is it for?
It was a function, remember? So if I wanted to replace a character with another one, then what function do I use?
It's not that one that's highlighted.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Remember when we talked about that? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I know. I was trying to count the characters in your string.
oh, okay, nice. So how many are there?
13.
Nice. Okay. Which character do we want to replace?
The first 6 and then replace it with my name.
Oh, okay. Actually, that will work. And here's how it will work. So if I say string dot and then our function replace, and then remember, okay, here's a question for you guys. What's the first parameter? Do. So what do we put in the first parameter? The string we want to replace with, or the string we want to kick out and then put another string in?
The string we want to kick out?
Yeah, basically. So we want to kick out Labdi. And then who do we want to replace her with?
Chase.
There we go. So if we do that, now I'm not gonna run this because this is not some IDE, but if I do print out the resultant string, my output will be, no, my output will be Chase is great. And we can test this with Rayon on Replit.
Yep.
So beautiful.
So now let's put this into actual application, guys, and head on over towards our coding website. The link towards our shared platform will be in the chat. So we'll wait a couple.
Oh, that's kind of funny. I opened the chat as soon as it came in. So like I saw it like come in as soon as I opened it.
Yeah, Akshita, definitely. If you click on the link, Rayan is going to code in. It's the same as the screen you see right now. Rayan will go through another example of the replace function that we are going over today. And just to recap, replace function basically replaces any character or string you want to replace. And it replaces every instance of it. So every time you see a T in this is great, it'll replace that with whatever character you want.
Exactly. Alrighty, so now guys, let's get on started. So we got the basic idea down. We know how it works, but now all that's left is actually coding it. So we usually like to start off by creating some type of function, right? A function to hold all of our code. So that's what I'm going to do. Create that function to hold the code. And we can call that function. We can say, so remember def to define the function, and we'll say replace certain character. Call it that. Add your opening close parentheses, and then we'll add the colon. Hit enter. Make sure we are all indented correctly. Now, before I move on any further, we're gonna probably need something to actually replace with an original text, right? So what we can do is ask the user for 2 words. So we can say first, ask the user for the original. So original text. And we can ask the user, anybody remember what do we write when we're asking the user for something?
Input.
Honor, right? Yep, 100% Chase. So we say input, and we can just ask what is the original string you want to put in. All right. And now we have to ask the user then what is a certain letter which you, so we're going to be replacing all the vowels, right? So how about we actually call it that? I think it'd be more representative. So we'll say replace vowels. Let's call it like that. So we have the original string, and now we got to ask the user, what do you want all the vowels in your original message to be replaced with? So we'll do one more input. So we'll say replacement character, and set that equal to another user input. And this time let's ask them, what should we replace the vowel with? And if you want to test this, we can just print out the original text and the replacement character to make sure our code is working correctly. So if I hit run, oh, there's something super important which we're forgetting. We're not actually calling the function. So remember in Python, guys, since we are using this function, we have to actually call it. So I'm going to say replace vowels, add the open and close parentheses, and now all the code inside of this function will actually run. So let's hit our run button. We're being told, what is the original string? I'll say hello. And then we're told, what should we replace the vowel with? And then we can put in whatever we'd like. And then we should, at the end of the day, see our final example, right? So now what's left is actually replacing it. So in order to do this, we're sort of going to break it down into, we can say, 2 separate steps, right? We're going to have 2 separate steps right here. Firstly, we're going to go through each letter in our original text. And then we are going to check if that letter is a vowel. And if so, what are we going to do, guys? We're going to
Replace the vowels.
Yep.
I hit unmute when I thought I was muted when I wasn't.
That's all good. Thanks for participating, Chase. Always appreciate it. So that's the game plan. In order to do this, we're going to be utilizing our key ideas of, firstly, a for loop. And the way we're going to do this is using that idea of for loop with a character. So what I'm going to do is say for every character in the original text string. All right, so that's going to be the overlaying for loop. So say we have our original text is equal to, we'll say original text variable is equal to hello, right? What this is going to do is print out every single letter. So if I hit run, we should see H-E-L-L-O. And how about we just go ahead and print it out as well, and we should see exactly that. So let's hit run. Give it a quick moment. There we go. So if I have hello, we should see all the letters like such being printed out.
Hello.
Okay, these are some print statements I have above, so make sure to get rid of those. And now I'll hit run. Now I'll say hello, anything. And there we go. We see every single character inside of our string being printed out. So step one is accomplished. Now we have to actually do some type of checking to make sure, is that character a vowel? So what comes to mind, guys? Is there a certain term we've reviewed, which I'm going to use to make sure and check if something is equal to something? Anybody remember?
Is it while or for?
So that's the loop. Remember, we're using, what's the thing I use which to make sure I can check two conditions? So like I don't want to say the word, something is equal to something, then we'll run this piece of code. We often refer to it as a conditional.
I keep on thinking it's a loop.
Remember, it's the if-else statement.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I kept on thinking about loops.
That's totally fine. So similar idea with the while loop, but instead an if-else statement is if this condition is true, then do it. So like if the stoplight is green, move the car, keep going forward, right? Well, in this scenario, what we're going to check for is say if the character we are looking at contains any of the vowels. So Chase, give us where are the vowels again?
The vowels?
Yep.
E and O are for hello, right?
Yep. So in our case, those will be the vowels, and in the English language, we say A, E, I, O, U.
And sometimes Y.
Sometimes Y, yep. So in this case, we're checking, does our original string and does that specific character equal any of the vowels? Now, guys, this line of code is super, if you think about it, abstract. We have multiple ways we could do this. We could either say if the character is equal to A, then do a replace. Otherwise, else if the character is equal to a B or an E, then run it. But a sort of a sleight hand or a faster way of doing it is just saying if the character is any of these letters, then we'll run a certain piece of code. So a shortcut method to know there. And now all that's left is to use that function we've been talking about whole day for, that being the replace function. And that is totally fine, guys. If you are coming new, remember we have a Google Classroom set up as well. So if you want to join that as well at the end, we can get you guys that code. But just follow along and ask any questions if you guys have any. So like I was saying, we got one final step, that being actual replacement. So what I'm going to do is say the original text variable is equal to the original text dot replace. And like we just saw, we got to go out with the old and in with the new. The old is going to be the vowels we are currently looking at, so the character we're looking at, and then replacing it with the replacement character the user has specified. Now, if this is working correctly, if we inputted the word hello and say our replacement character was the letter Z, right? So say our original was hello, our change character was going to be Z, so our new should be HZLLZ, because you can see that we're replacing all of the vowels, so E and O, with the letter Z. So now let's add a quick print statement to make sure our code works correctly outside of the for loop, just to make sure we're not getting printed out something multiple times. I'll just do print out the original text. And we can just say the new string is, so we can sort of see it nicely pop up as well. So here we go. The original string is going to be hello. Replace it with Z. We should see huzluz, right? And there we go. We see HZLLZ. Now we can do this with any. Yeah. So what do you think, Jace? Anything inside?
Oh no! If we pronounced it that way, it would be like.
Yeah, that would be a pretty different way of saying it, right? So say we do Tampa, replace it with C, you get TCMPC. So main idea being we're replacing any vowel with the letter we wanted to. And that takes us till the end of our code. A sort of a simpler lesson, but utilizing some more in-depth concepts like characters, more for loops. And at the end of the day, we got the job done. As always, guys, this link with our code along with the whole recorded video will be up on our YouTube channel and on the Google Classroom in the next couple of minutes after we end the class. So if you ever got lost, ever need help, you can always reach out to us there or go back to our finished copies.
And the code to the Google Classroom is in the chat for those of you who don't have it already, but
I have become an honorary member of the Google Classroom.
oh, I see. My bad. I will send that over. Hold on. Cute.
Chase there may or may not be. You never know. Pythons, I can see it being like a second name. The Chicago Pythons. Never know. But
Maybe if they were the Chicago Pythons, they might have actually like.
Hi, I
Maybe the
was in like
Chicago
a.
Bears were the Chicago Pythons. Maybe they would have gotten to the Super Bowl.
Did you guys enjoy the Super Bowl?
yeah, it was a great game.
And
The
I got
Buccaneers
bored
won.
very quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tom Brady gets
Got bored. I got
It
bored.
was really lopsided.
Well, that's what happens when you're going against Tom Brady. All right. So, guys, that takes us till the end of our 5th week of our algorithmic programming course. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. Hopefully, you guys had a great time. Remember, all this information will be available on our Google Classroom in a couple of minutes. Hopefully, you guys had a good time and enjoyed the Super Bowl last night, too. Guys, take care. We'll get you guys next week. And remember, this Wednesday, too.
See ya.
Bye, thanks. And next time we
Bye.
do a